Well, the Maple Leafs do what the Maple Leafs do to the Dallas Stars. A not so happy 26th birthday for Jake Oettinger as the flu bug continues to run rampant in the Stars locker room.
You're Locked On Stars, your daily podcast on the Dallas Stars. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Howdy, Stars fans. I'm Joey Erickson, former producer of 105 Through the Fan. Please be sure to subscribe. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. And as always, thank you so much for making us a part of your day and making us your first listen. The Toronto Maple Leafs win their 7th consecutive game at the American Airlines Center, scoring a total of 33 goals in those 7 wins as they take this one by a final score of 5-3, despite being outshot 39-19 by the Stars. It was a game to forget for Jake Oettinger. The flu bug continues to be a problem as the Stars were shorthanded. We'll get into that. We'll break down the game and plenty more on a Thursday edition of Locked On Stars, which is brought to you by FanDuel. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. As it's often the case when these two teams meet, it feels like every time the Stars make a mistake, it ends up in the back of their net. And Jake Oettinger did not have the best start. We'll get into that. The Stars did not help him out a ton, but this was another very winnable game for the Dallas Stars because of the way they played the first 2 periods. Really, they had some lapses, but for the most part, I thought it was a very, very strong start. Dallas forechecked really hard, and they gave Toronto some fits defensively. And when Toronto made their mistakes, Dallas just could not execute. They could not bear down on their chances because the Maple Leafs made a few costly turnovers in their own zone, some very bad plays at their own blue line in the first half of the hockey game, and Dallas just could not make them pay for it. And Joseph Woll was outstanding in net. The expected goals against was 3.56. Woll was an absolute brick wall in between the pipes for Toronto, but Dallas had their looks. They go 0 for 4 on the power play. Another game where if the man advantage can chip in, we're talking about a different outcome in this one. And they just cannot find a way to execute when it matters. For some reason, they are just unable to find the back of the net. And Pete DeBoer spoke about it in the post-game press conference. He mentions that he needs more scoring from some of his forwards up front, and it's the ones that have scored in the years past, but it is just not happening at this point. And this stretch without Sagan is proving to be really costly because they just cannot depend on anybody to score consistently outside of Matt Duchene and Mason Marchment. And Marchment was off the bench for a period in the second, and he came out for a shift in the third, and we didn't see him the rest of the game. DeBoer gave an update post-game. He's dealing with something. They'll know more tomorrow. So we'll have to figure out what Marchment is dealing with. But in his limited time, he played a team low 10 minutes and 34 seconds on the night. He still created things. He was making things happen, and again, was a decent bright spot for Dallas in the game. I mean, the scoring chances were at 5-on-5, they were even, but if you count the power play, 27-18 in favor of the Stars. The possession game was heavily in favor of Dallas at 5-on-5 for the first and third period. And the best line of the night, and this is the problem, the best line of the night was Sam Steele, Oscar Beck, and Colin Blackwell. What a night the fourth line had. Let's give them their flowers despite the abysmal play from really everybody else in a green sweater outside of Miro Heiskanen and Essa Lindell. I think Lundell may be dealing with something as well. He only played 20 minutes on the night, and I think possibly he's fighting the flu as well. I mean, Miro played almost 30 minutes tonight. He played nearly 30 minutes, I think, to make up for some of the departures of Harley and Lundkvist, who are still dealing with the flu. They had to call up Petrovic and Brendan Smith, who were just a sight for sore eyes, to say the least. They weren't very good. At one point, I thought DeBoer was almost trying to prove the point. I feel like I looked up and Smith and Petrovic were out there, but at the same time, he needs some defensemen to eat up some time, because Miro and Lundell have played a ton and are trying to limit the number of minutes. But it was a tough task from the outset for Dallas with no Harley, Dumba still out with an upper body, and no Nils Lundkvist. But it's another winnable game for Dallas. It's another winnable game, and they had some lapses. The first goal they gave up, Smith just fumbles the puck, and Petrovic didn't play the 2-on-1 perfectly, but he forced Domi into a shot, and it was perfectly labeled past the blocker of Jake Oettinger, who did not have his best stuff. The Nylander goal to tie it at 2 after Dadonov scored a beautiful goal. I mean, Dadonov going to work on Morgan Riley was able to lift one over top a Woll. I mean, the Sam Steele goal in the first period to open the game for Dallas was tremendous. I mean, just on his horse, he beats Matthews to the puck. It was a bit lackadaisical trying to get back, and Steele with a beautiful move in tight to beat Woll. And then after that, I mean, Woll was almost unbeatable. You look at the Nylander goal, and Bichel and Labushkin, there was some miscommunication there. Labushkin, I believe, came over to try to 2-on-1 Matthews, and then just left Nylander to be. And they both went there. Puck goes to Nylander, and it's a mini breakaway. And I mean, William Nylander isn't going to make a mistake from there. And then just moments later, 16 seconds, Nicholas Robertson, who had an incredible night. He turns into Wayne Gretzky every time he plays his brother, and every time he plays the Dallas Stars. I'm sure Berube just makes sure, like, okay, let's schedule the Stars like 8 times next year, because we know 89 is going to have a ginormous game. I mean, he was all over the place, scored a turnaround goal through the 5-hole of Oettinger, which I don't know if he even saw. It looked like he may have been screened by Petrovic, and he sets up the Bobby McCann goal just about 5 minutes later, picks off a pass, sets up McCann, another really good shot, but one Otter would like to have back. And there you go. After what you feel like was a nice game for Dallas, they're down by 2 heading into the third period, and they're now 0 for 9 when trailing after 2 periods this season. Seemed to be sort of a flip-flop from Monday, where it's like you feel like Dallas should be trailing in the game, and they were actually leading heading into the second, or heading to the third. And tonight against the Maple Leafs, it was the exact opposite. And Dallas outshot Toronto. In the first period, 16-4. They would have loved to have a lead. They were all over them. And as I said, again, give the fourth line flowers. And this is part of the issue, that they were the best line tonight for the Dallas Stars. I was so pumped that Blackwell scored on the 6-on-5, because he deserved it. There was a couple of plays early in the game. I mean, Dallas was going right to the puddle, taking the puck to the net. Blackwell was a part of that. Steele on his first goal was a part of that. And Beck had such a solid game. They were all over, and it was nice to see Blackwell get rewarded because of his excellent play on the night. And Sam Steele could have 4 or 5 goals in the game. I mean, Lord, the amount of chances he had. And Woll was something. He was spectacular, and certainly was a part of the problem for Dallas. But again, another winnable game. You have chances on the power play. You go 0 for 4, and it looked good. They had some looks. The last power play they had in the third was their worst of the night. But again, they had their chances. They just have to bear down. I mean, look at the shots. Blackwell had 6 shots. Steele with 4. Bork had 3. They're giving him a chance with a top line. He started there with Robo and Rope, and I thought Bork was okay. Um, again, but again, like Rope had one shot, Robo had two. Like, why is Sam Steele and Blackwell combining for 10 shots on the night? And they were getting rewarded. Like, Steele was on the power play. He was on the second unit towards the end of the game, and he deserved to because of his play and what he's putting out there. It was just such a strong game from him and Blackwell. And you can't really say the same for Robertson, who was a -2. Rope, I thought was, okay, but for the most part, not a whole lot. He did have a breakaway, and Woll stopped him. That could have been a big turnaround for Dallas. Early in the third period, too, they just could not put a pass together. There was some points in the game and stretches where just simple short passes, just struggling to connect. And like for the most part, I know Dallas was shorthanded, but they weren't that atrocious defensively for the most. But outside of Petrovic and Smith, they were pretty solid. That pairing was just getting demolished. You saw them out there a lot against Tavares, Matthews, and Nylander, whatever the trio kind of is for them. You saw them get dominated a bit, but outside of that, I thought they were pretty decent defensively. It's just a case where Toronto's so deadly, you make a mistake and they get a look. They just bury it. And Otter could not make that save, could not get a save, which stunk. And he could be dealing with the flu as well. I mean, we really don't know. I'll get into Otter a bit here, but it's another winnable game with the amount of chances they have. But, story of the season, like you're just Robertson and Rope, like cannot find a way. And I thought Johnson created a lot. I thought he had a pretty decent game out of that trio. And yeah, just another night where you come out of the rink thinking, yeah, like we got bested, but a game on home ice where this homestand is turning into very mediocre right now with a few of the losses. And it's just a stinky night in a game where you feel like, yeah, you deserve to win, but you didn't bear down on chances enough. And credit to Joseph Woll, who was brilliant. You ran into a very good goaltender on the night, and unfortunately, you got poor goaltending from 29. And we'll get into Jake here, who had a very, very subpar 26th birthday in terms of his performance, and we'll do that in just a moment. Today's episode is sponsored by Prize Picks. If you love sports, you're going to love Prize Picks, the best place to turn your sports knowledge into real money. Whether it's hockey, football, or any of your favorite sports, Prize Picks makes it easy to get in on the action. You can now win 1,000 times your money on Prize Picks. Plus, this holiday season, they're giving away $30+ million in rewards during Picksmas and offering 2 free picks in December. And when those picks hit, Prize Picks makes it easy to cash out. You can get your money in as fast as 15 minutes. And this week on Prize Picks, you can either hockey board. They got things like Jack Hughes for more than 4 shots on goal or Timmy Panarin for more than 1 assist. It's so simple to make your picks and have fun with friends while potentially cashing out fast. So download the app today. Use the code LOCKEDONNHL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's right, $50 instantly. Download the app today. Use the code LOCKEDONNHL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's right, $50 instantly. Prize Picks, run your game. The World Series, the Super Bowl, the Olympics. The world's top athletes get to play in these top-level sporting events thanks to one thing, teamwork. And teamwork can also protect your financial legacy and your family's future. Select Quote's licensed insurance agents are the perfect teammates when shopping for customized, affordable life insurance. They can find you the right policy to keep your financial legacy safely in your team's end zone. Select Quote is one of America's leading insurance brokers with nearly 40 years of experience, helping over 2 million customers find over $700 billion in coverage since 1985. You invest so much time to take care of yourself and to be the healthiest, best version of you. Select Quote's exclusive policies can reward that effort. And these policies are more affordable than you think. You could get coverage for up to $1 million for as little as $20 per month. Get the right life insurance for you for less at selectquote.com/lockedonnhl. Go to selectquote.com/lockedonnhl today to get started. That's selectquote.com/lockedonnhl. Jake Oettinger turns 26 years of age on December the 18th. He was making his 7th consecutive start in 15 days, and it was a rough one from the outset. Really, the Maple Leafs had 4 goals on 8 shots at one point, if I'm not mistaken. It was pretty drastic after the 4th goal for Toronto, who really could not muster up many chances in the way of their dump and chase game and forechecking. A lot of it just came off of miscues and mistakes from Dallas. And, look, it's easy for me to come on here and bang on Otter. And yes, he needed to make a save here or there in the game. He is certainly a part of the problem. And y'all know I'm on the side of playing him as much as possible, let him find a rhythm. But in the same context, in the same light, he's played a lot. The Stars are dealing with the flu bug. He could possibly be dealing with some of that. And it was just a night to forget. It was a complete stinker. I thought Domi's shot was perfectly placed. I thought the McCann goal was perfectly placed. I really don't know what he could have done on some of those shots. Like, sometimes you just get beat by a great shot, but you can certainly argue he should make the save. And I won't fight you on that very much. The Robertson goal, which was the real dagger to make it 4-2 at the time, the turnaround bid through his 5-hole. I'm pretty sure he was screened by Petrovic and really never saw it, which stunk. But yes, he needed to make a save here and there, and he was pulled after the second. They put Casey DeSmith in, and DeBoer said it was really just to give Otter some rest, plus to get DeSmith a period of hockey, because DeSmith is probably 95% going to start on Friday against New York. But it was an ugly game from Jake Oettinger. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. The expected goals against was 0.86 in the game. Like, Toronto really didn't muster up anything. They had some high quality looks when they got them, but in terms of quantity, not much at all. And he just could not make a save. And again, if you made a save here or there, maybe it's a different result we're talking about. But look, Dallas had some major lapses in front of them. The few goals that he surrendered were an outlet pass that's intercepted at their own blue line. Smith fumbles a puck at neutral ice, and then there's just sort of a snowball effect at that point, where it's like that 5-minute stretch where Dallas just forgot how to play, and the Maple Leafs are so dangerous, and they strike like that, and you look up and you're down by 2. And Dallas had a nice push at the end. They had 14 shots in the third period. They did get a 6-on-5 goal. Miro got absolutely robbed halfway through the third on a 2-on-1. Blackwell set him up, and Woll came all the way over from his left, or from his right, I should say, and stoned him with the glove. It's just like story of the night and story of the 2024-25 campaign. If he scores there, got half a period to do something, but it's just it's a terrible night from Otter. Look, I can't really spin it either way, besides the fact that he's played a lot recently, and it's not helping that the Stars are shorthanded, and they're having to call guys up. They're having to just throw lineups sorted together on the back end, especially like Smith and Petrovic's your third pair. That's never going to be the case for most of the season. And you just have players huffing and puffing. Like Miro played a ton, but thought he was really, really strong. It's just, yeah, it was a combination of a lot of things, I think, that just kind of reared their ugly head tonight in Dallas. But again, it's a winnable game. It really is. It's a winnable game. And I think even Toronto would say, well, maybe we got lucky in some spots, and Woll really held us in. He was sort of the story of the night for them, but they scored timely goals. And look, Dallas didn't score timely goals. And, the Stars, aren't giving Otter a huge amount of run support recently. If you look at it that way, a lot of twos. They did get 3, but it's been a tough go in terms of their execution. And I know they're still top 10 in terms of goals against, but they just have a lot of guys that are fighting it right now. A lot of guys that could really use a goal here or there. But look, I'm not going to argue with you a lot. Like, Otter has to be better, and it was a stinking terrible game. But I think you can put it into context a bit, is all I'm saying. I don't think it was all on him, and it's easy to do that when you give up I think it was 4 and like 9 shots. It was nasty. But, like, Dallas could have been better in front of him for the most part. But yes, if you want him to be an elite goaltender, you got to make those saves. You got to bear down. So I see both sides in that one. Stars dropped to 19-12-0. They didn't lose ground on Minnesota, who got spanked tonight. The Ducks actually came back to beat the Jets in regulation. So Dallas did get some help here on a Wednesday night. Let's talk about some of the injuries, the illnesses that are going around, and what was a flu bug game for Dallas, who needs to get healthy here in a hurry. We'll do that in just a moment. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is brought to you by FanDuel. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers can place a $5 bet and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets, all the NFL, all in one place. So when you get that hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bet. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. So the Stars were without Thomas Harley for the second consecutive game. Lundkvist had to miss again despite playing on Monday night, but he had to leave early. They had to recall Petrovic in the morning. Matt Dumba is still out. So Dallas is shorthanded on the back end, which really doesn't help Lindell and Miro, who are having to make up for it. Unfortunately, the Stars are in a position right now with the amount of games they're playing. They can't just go out and shelter Brendan Smith, who checked back in, or Petrovic, who of course have their flaws. And I mentioned it at the top of the show where I thought like DeBoer was almost making a point by having Petrovic and Smith out there. It's like, okay, like you're really asking to make this a 3-goal Maple Leafs lead, but you can only play Miro so much. And Miro played, I think, the last 4 minutes of the game with the extra attacker when Dallas was still trying to chip away at the lead. I mean, Ford didn't leave the ice because he's your best offensive defenseman that's in the game currently. And you have to get him out there to sort of run things through him. And look, Bischel played 15 minutes and Bischel had a fantastic game. Can't believe I haven't even got to him. That's sort of all the issues and problems Dallas is having. Bischel, another strong game from him. Some physicality. He knocked down Tavares at one point. I thought had a really, really solid game. Probably despite not scoring, probably his best overall game of the season so far. Thought another really strong performance from Six. Look, he's here to stay. There's no way they can send him back down. He's by far a better option than Petrovic, than Smith or Dumba at this point. He's by far a better option. You need him. You frankly need Bischel right now, and you can live with any of the weaknesses and any of the mistakes he's going to make as a rookie at this point in time. It's worth to have him up and deal with those, because yes, you are going to be fully healthy at one point, and I'll take Miro, Harley, Labushkin, Lundkvist, Lindell, and Bischel. Take it all day. Take it all day. Give me those 6. You can deal with that. You need your best player. You need your best players to step up, like, big time. And I hate to bring it back to this conversation after such a poor game from Oettinger. I get it, but again, like 21, 24, they have to provide something for you. They really have to. And I kept saying, like, Sagan being out sucks. They're going to miss that, but I'm not really worried about the Stars as a whole. And maybe I should be. Maybe I was wrong on that, because there's nobody scoring consistently. There is nobody scoring consistently. Steele, Blackwell, Beck, 3.9. They deserved it. From those 3, they all picked up an assist. They absolutely deserved it. Blackwell and Steele had a goal, but Beck with an assist. Stanky picked up assists. So did Ben. And Ben's assist was on the 6-on-5 goal. Dodonov 2 points. I mean, look at the names I'm bringing up, and it's not a shot at them. It's not a shot, but hello, where's your big boys when you need them, right? They just, I don't know what it is. They're snake bitten. They really are. And it stinks that they're in the flu bug, and the expectations are low, but teams are dealing with injury. Teams are dealing with a lot. Nobody feels sorry for you. You have to find a way to dig down and bear down on chances. And yes, you could say it was going to be a tough uphill climb. Baloney. I'm sorry. Like, win the game. You had too many chances to kind of bring it back to, well, you're kind of dealing with the flu, and I get that. It's a part of it. It is. But Otter was abysmal, and the Stars couldn't get the job done on special teams. I mean, you get 4 looks on the power play. You got 4. Toronto only had 1. It's not like they were, not like the Leafs were getting all the calls. Even though I thought the one penalty the Stars took was pretty soft, if I remember correctly. Honestly, can't remember. It was early in the game, wasn't it? The cross-checking, yeah, it was a little soft, but I get it. That was after the Pacioretty hit. That was a doozy on Maverick Bourque. That was a big doozy. Well, Dallas has a chance to turn a very meh homestand into an okay one with a win on Friday. They've lost to Nashville and Toronto now. They have a chance to go 3-2, and it's like, okay, you take 6 out of the 10 points, which is okay. Would have loved to have 8. But the next 5 are big to end the month. New York, Utah, Minnesota, Chicago, Buffalo. You got to find a way to take 8 of the 10. You really do. You got to find a way to take 8 of 10. New York is collapsing. Utah, tough team. Chicago's giving the Stars fits. Buffalo have to win that game. Minnesota's a toss-up, but generally you have a good night against the Wild. But they're going to be fully healthy for the most part. The Wild, you would think. We'll see what happens. They have to end this month on a high note. They need some momentum. They need some momentum badly. All right, that's enough. I feel like I've jumped on every topic I sort of wanted to hint. What a game from the fourth line. They were brilliant. They were brilliant, and I hate to have to talk about them in a loss. I wish it was a different result. They were awesome. I mean, Sam Steele, what a night. He was shooting star of the game. He was star of the night. Great effort from him and Beck and Blackwell. And they get rewarded with goals. They get rewarded for what they did tonight. So good on them. Good on the fourth line for chipping in, because can't rely on some others. That's for certain at this point. All righty, Stars fans. Appreciate all the love and support. You guys have been fantastic. Check out the episode I did with Sam Nessler from DLLS Stars. We're starting to do some more collabs. I've jumped on their show once already, and Sam's going to come on here about every month or so. It's always great to catch up with him, and he's with the team every day and dialed into everything that's going on. So I love to pick his brain, and be sure to check out that episode. Continue to tune in every day. Hit the subscribe button. Almost to 3,500 subscribers. You guys have been fantastic. Drop a like, drop a comment. Let me know how you're feeling about this Dallas Stars squad so far. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see you on a Friday. So long, Stars fans.